Hello and welcome to another episode. Today on Heart to Heart with Abagaba, we are diving into the world of teens, families, and technology with someone who truly gets it. I'm your host, Abby Dominguez. Our guest today is a passionate educator and fierce advocate for teens and families. Through her work, she's helped shape young minds, support parents, and build stronger communities. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist and founder of the Caldwell Family Institute in Los Angeles. With over a decade of experience teaching systems theory at California State University, Northridge, she's known for her dynamic, family based approach to healing. She specializes in the treatment of non suicidal self injury in teens and families, and she's currently writing a series on building the village it takes to raise a family. Her voice has been featured in outlets like Motherly, Pop Sugar, Very Well, and the Health Field podcast. And today she's joining us for a heart to heart on truth telling, parenting, and the role of community in raising children. I am honored to learn from her wisdom and heart. Please join me in welcoming Angela Caldwell.
Thank
And
you so much, Abigail. That that bio made me sound so much better than I think I really am.
oh my goodness, you all that and more. How are you doing today?
I'm so good. I'm excited to be talking with you.
Oh, I'm so excited also. And I'm conversing with you from Mesa, Arizona. Please tell our listeners where we are connecting from and add a short bio.
Yes, we happen to be in sunny Southern California. I am let's see, currently it's pretty hot out. It's a nice summer day outside. And let's see, a short bio. I didn't always live in Los Angeles. I grew up in Texas. I grew up in El Paso, Texas, and I moved out here for college, and I loved it so much I stayed. So that's how I got out here.
I love it. I love California. It's so beautiful out there, the beaches and
Yes.
everything.
Oh, we are quite spoiled. We get perfect weather almost 365 days.
Oh, yeah, I love it. So, I wanted to ask you, how
Yes.
did your childhood inform how you approach family therapy?
Oh, yes. It probably informed it 100%. Um, that's a long question. I hope I don't bore your listeners with my answer.
Oh,
So so
no.
there's a confluence of forces that came together that informed my work. And in my childhood, I have this unique childhood experience because I grew up in a border town. And those of us who grew up in border towns, we have a very different experience of family and daily life. In my town, El Paso, population is primarily Mexican. And so I was immersed in a very Mexican culture. So all of my friends at school, those were Mexican families. So if I was invited to a birthday party, it was, you know, sometimes across the border, and I was immersed in we grew up speaking fluent Spanish, and I was immersed in Mexican family life. And so I would say the most important influence in my work now is probably, when I look back, the Mexican family life. Those families are different than traditional American families. And the difference that I observe is that they are, well, first of all, they're huge. And they're huge because aunts and uncles and grandparents and cousins, they live nearby, and they don't stray far from home. I think in the United States, it's more customary for us to, like what I did, kind of go off to college, and so now I'm not nearby my family anymore. My
Uh-huh.
my siblings also kind of moved away. My own parents moved away from their family to start their life. So, I didn't grow up with cousins nearby. I didn't grow up with, extended family members nearby. And so when I'm on this mission now as a professional, and I'm trying to, well, frankly, I'm trying to yell at everybody that we need a village. um, it's I have this very resonating, pounding memory of the built-in village in the Mexican families, and how um, easy it was for someone to pass off the baby to whichever family member was standing nearby, and they didn't talk about boundaries being crossed, and they didn't have, necessarily these fracturing arguments over who should parent in what way. And it was sort of this, well, there's a baby and the baby belongs to all of us, so I've got to go cook, I've got to go turn the grill on, so you take the baby, and it doesn't really matter who you is. It might be the mother, the cousin, the aunt, the uncle. And I just grew up observing this exchange in these families, this flow, this ease of
Mhm.
how the whole family was responsible for the children, not just the
Yeah.
parents. And that was in deep contrast to what I know to be more traditional American, where, if the baby is crying, nobody stands up to help. Everyone looks at the parents. And I don't think it's because I don't think it's because we're being inconsiderate. I think we are just I think we're kind of weird. I think we're kind of hyper aware of, like, well, it's not my place and it's not my baby and I don't know what the mom wants me to do. And maybe the dad, instead of just acknowledging the immediate need. There's a baby crying. Go help.
Right, right.
Right.
Goodness, I love that. I love the community. Like that's a true sense of it takes a village to raise a child. Thank you so very much for that beautiful insight. That makes so much sense. I have noticed how often the most compassionate therapists are the ones who sat with your own stories first. I
Mm,
love that.
that's a sweet thing to say. Thank you.
Oh, it's true. I mean, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the heart of the story. You're definitely not afraid to speak your truth. Has that ever gotten you into trouble professionally?
Perhaps daily. Uh, um, so no major trouble. I've never, I don't have any ethical violations. I don't have any legal complaints, nothing like that. But let's play with your question. It depends on how you define the word trouble. So you're right. I have a reputation for not being afraid to say what I think. And if it does, it will cause conflict. It'll cause confrontation. Sometimes, Abigail, that's intentional. Sometimes it's because, especially in a therapy session, we need to have a confrontation. I have a joke with my clients that I sell this product that nobody wants. It's called painful and uncomfortable conversations. And in order to have those, I need to create a little tension in the room. So sometimes to kickstart the conversation, I might say the thing that we're all thinking, and it's an uncomfortable thing to say, or it's a painful truth. And so I suppose it gets me in trouble if you consider, discomfort in the room, tension in the relationship as trouble. It's just that I want that trouble to happen, because if we don't get ourselves into a little bit of trouble, we'll never resolve anything.
Right. Oh my goodness.
As I said, it's
I
never going to be into like an ethical problem, but hey, there's still time, and I've got a big mouth, so we'll
I
see.
mean, if we come into therapy and we have deep issues that we don't want to address,
Yeah.
that needs to be addressed for us to move on. So I love the deep questions, however troubling it might be, like that, getting to the root of that will help us to heal and help us be better. So I think listeners will really appreciate that honesty. It's a reminder that clarity and kindness can coexist, even in tough moments, even in
Yeah.
tough conversations. So, yay.
Yes.
So, what does the village mean to you as it relates to parenting? I mean, we may have touched on that a little bit, but any insights will be appreciated.
Oh, I like the openness of the question because you're going to let me go any direction I want here. I love it.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if it's just the mood that I'm in this morning, or if it's just kind of what I've been focused on lately in my practice. But I will tell you that what the village, okay, in order to have the village in the first place, what everybody needs to do right now is lighten up. Everybody needs to lighten
Ooh,
up.
I
And
love that. Lighten up. I love that.
what I mean by that is, there's a lot of therapy speak going around, from people in therapy, from people TikToking therapy, from people reading about mental health, which is great. And I'm glad we're reading about mental health, and I'm glad people are becoming more aware of their mental health. But we're Abigail, I hate to say it, we're overdoing it. We're
Hmm.
overdoing it because everybody's obsessed with boundaries now. Let's use that
Hmm.
as an example. And any therapist is going to tell you, yes, of course you should have boundaries, and of course you should maintain your boundaries. But we don't mean to the extreme levels that society's taking it right now. We don't mean, like, for example, a boundary is not ending a relationship over a disagreement. That's not a boundary, right?
Hmm.
A boundary is not staying in your lane 100% all the time. And this is sort of what I mean by lighten up. So if you're going to be a
Right.
family or a village, we're going to have some boundary crossings every now and then, and we're going to it's going to get a little messy, and it's going to be a little muddy, and we're going to get into each other's lanes. Sometimes we're going to need to get into each other's lanes because there's some kind of crisis or a problem, or I'm better at solving this problem than you are, and you're better at handling that guy than I am. And I want everyone to calm down a little bit and
Hmm.
have a little bit more tolerance for messiness. We have lost our tolerance for messiness, and
Hmm.
family relationships and living in a village. And I hope you let me talk about the difference between a village and a tribe, but
Oh,
living in
please.
a
Yeah.
village and living in a family, it's messy life, man. And it's okay. And calm down. It's okay. If we
Yes.
step on each other's toes, if we say something that hurts people's feelings, it's okay.
Yeah. I love that how you frame village as not just support, but structure. There's so much wisdom in building systems of care. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. How can children and teens use social media in the most healthy way possible?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is when we're going to alienate all the listeners. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes,
Uh,
let's do it.
Best way they can use it is to not use it. I'm dead serious about that. So there's a psychologist, author, Jonathan Haidt. He wrote The Anxious Generation. His work has been criticized, and some of the things that he says are a little controversial. And I understand that, that there's some electric charge around how people feel about him and his message. But I will tell you the part of his message that resonates as, oh my gosh, just powerful truth to me
Mhm.
is that we cannot ignore the correlation between kids' social media use and
Mhm.
kids' mental health crisis. We
Ooh,
can't ignore it. We
we
can't ignore
can't.
it. I know that there are researchers saying, correlation does not equal causation, which I actually agree with. However, it just seems pretty sensible to not let kids be exposed to the wild west of the internet and social media.
I
It's
agree.
it's, it's just I know it's an unpopular and an unromantic opinion that I hold, but the benefits that I keep hearing people say, all the good stuff of social media, yeah, okay, it to me it just rings hollow. It sounds like people saying, but there's good things in McDonald's. Well, okay, yeah, probably, but the bad isn't worth the good. The,
Right.
the increase in suicides, the cyberbullying, the eating
Mm,
disorders,
mm,
it's just not worth it. So
not
if
worth
people
it.
say like, "Oh, but I can connect with friends from high school that I haven't talked to in a while." Well, that's great, but if it's costing a kid their life, I
Hmm.
don't care about your stupid friend from high school. Get off the
Hmm.
social media.
Hmm. Hmm. That is so
Yeah.
helpful,
Well,
especially
it's an unpopular opinion, I know.
for me, it isn't. I'm with you. I'm an early education teacher, so I'm
Uh,
with you. I'm with you there. And that's so helpful because for parents who feel overwhelmed by how quickly things change online, and I just love how you mentioned that the good should not, no, the bad should not outweigh the good, something like that.
yeah. Yeah.
Our kids are suffering, they need help. We need to really, really care for their mental. So I really, mental health. So I'm really with you on that one. What is one gentle truth you want every parent listening to take away from your work?
Mm, that's a good question. Okay, I'll tell you what I've been thinking about lately. That feels pretty important. Um, there's a certain kind of over-parenting that's happening, where I'm noticing that newer parents, so let's talk about the parents that are raising, say, 3 to 8 year old children, so kind of like younger kids.
Uh-huh.
I am noticing that the parents' fear for their child's safety is drowning the child's need to take risks and scrape their knees and have painful experiences in life that build resilience.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think what I want to say is, let's be careful that we aren't using restrictions on our children to manage our own anxieties as parents.
Right. I see that. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. It's not of all parents, you're a parent, I'm a parent, of all the parents, we all can relate to, sorry, but how terrifying it is to raise kids. I mean, all
Mhm.
of us, we can't enjoy, we can't enjoy a basketball game without seeing all the things that our kid could crack their head on, right? So, and so of course we're thinking about that all the time, and it makes sense. We feel the weight and the pressure, our responsibility to keep our child safe. But I think we are forgetting that there's a blessing in scraped knees. There's a blessing in failure. There's a blessing in emergency room visits. There's a blessing, that the more we let our kids take risks,
Hmm.
even if it's causing, secret panic inside of us, the
Hmm.
more we empower them to build independence and resilience and mastery and a sense of
Hmm.
autonomy in the world. And I'm sad to see that we are sacrificing children's autonomy just to manage our own fears.
Beautiful. I think every caregiver listening just exhaled a little hearing that.
Oh, good. I hope so.
Do we have time for a few questions? Okay, I wanted to know, how do you help families repair after conflict or rupture? That
Mm,
was like, we talked about that early in the beginning, but I just had to ask this question.
mm. Well, I guess it's the very irritating answer. It depends. It depends on the nature of the rupture. It depends on the family structure and the constellation of the family members. My general answer would be that step one is I have to get family members to lower their weapons. So there is if there's been a rupture or a fracture in family relationships, then I know I'm dealing with hurt. And so when the family walks into my room, I know that there's hurt walking into my room. And what do we do when we are hurt? We defend, right? All the walls go up because we
Mhm.
don't want to be hurt again. So there's work that a therapist does to kind of help bring down that wall a little bit, and let everyone feel safe enough. You're not
Mhm.
going to feel 100% safe in any therapy. You're not supposed to, but
Right.
to feel safe enough that they're going to be heard, that their broken heart is not going to be forgotten. Um,
Mhm.
and then, I mean, like I said, this is the annoying answer. The way we heal family ruptures is hearing everyone's narrative. So we do this thing in families. I do it. I'm sure you do it. Everybody does it. When we are hurt by a family member,
Mhm.
we assume that that was a targeted attack. That they
Mhm.
they they sat in their bedroom twirling their mustache, plotting our demise, and we hate them for it, and we are so angry and brokenhearted, and we sometimes want to get them back. Um, what heals in families is if I can get the hurt person to just lower their weapon for a second,
Mhm.
hear what actually happened, that there was
Beautiful.
no plotting, there was no mustache twirling. On the contrary, whatever was said or done actually was probably done for fear of something that the loved one was doing, fear that they were making
Right.
a bad
Right.
decision, fear that they were going to be forgotten about, fear that they were going to end the relationship, that whatever hurt occurred, there's a much more sensible narrative about why that occurred, and that can be a powerfully healing conversation.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that. Thank you so very much for sharing. And I know we mentioned teens and social media a while ago. What do you see as the biggest myth about mental health in children and teens?
Oh, that's a good question. And gosh, I must be thinking a lot about anxiety today. Where my head went was anxiety. Um, there is a misunderstanding. I don't know if this counts as a myth, but there's a misunderstanding that anxiety, like
Mhm.
the feeling,
Hmm.
is a disorder. So people do not seem to understand when they say, "Oh my gosh, I have anxiety. I need to go to therapy." No, you don't. No, no, no. That's having anxiety is not the same as having an anxiety disorder.
Mm.
And my analogy for my clients, for your listeners, would be it's kind of like it would be the same as cutting your finger and saying, "I am bleeding. I need an emergency room." No, no, no. Everyone bleeds when they cut their finger, right? And
Right.
that's that. And so anxiety is actually a part of life. You're going to feel anxiety about a job interview. You're going to feel anxiety about maybe going to a party, and you're gonna if you're a teen, you're going to feel anxiety about your social relationships.
Yeah.
Um, this is not a problem, and so maybe the biggest myth is identifying anxiety as a problem. Anxiety is not a problem. Anxiety out of control, if it's debilitating and you can't get out of bed, yeah,
Hmm.
okay, then you need therapy. If the anxiety is so big that you can hardly breathe and not get your work done, okay, yes, that's an emergency room. That needs stitches. But having anxiety, in other words, feeling nervous about going to a social event with your friends, that's life.
Hmm.
That's normal. That's not a problem. And I guess the object of the game is to help parents empower their teens, let them understand, A, this is ordinary. Oh my gosh,
Right.
what a key word that parents need to start using. The anxiety is ordinary, it's
Hmm.
manageable, and there's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with you. You can do
Right.
life
I
with
love
nervous
that.
things. Yeah.
Wow. What's something you've changed your mind about as a therapist and parent over the years?
Oh gosh, do you have a few hours?
I do.
Well, okay, so this is a juicy, controversial one for you. And
Okay, let's hear it.
in my early work, when I was a newer
Mhm.
therapist, I believed in, so you hear this term toxic relationships.
Oh yeah.
And I believed that if you identified in your life that there was a toxic relationship, that that relationship was untenable and you needed to eliminate it. I don't think that anymore. In my personal life, I have, I suppose we could define a couple of my family members as toxic. Um, and I have a relationship with them. I don't have to cut them off. I have to be
Yes.
careful. I have to learn how to navigate the limits and that
Mhm.
magical word boundaries. And but I can have love and for them and I can cherish them and I can feel their love and cherishing of me. It just doesn't come out the way that I wish it would. Um,
Right.
and so I'm much more hesitant
Mhm.
to agree with my clients cutting off relationships.
Mhm.
Relationships are so dear. At the end of the day, on our deathbed, that's all that the relationships are all that matters. And so I've noticed that I've changed and I've thought, oh gosh, can we be super, super duper sure before we sever relationships? They're so sacred. They're the center of life. And let's be
Right.
careful before we
Right.
end them.
Right. Wow, that was so profound. Thank you so much for sharing that. I have a question that I'm sure many caregivers, coaches, and nannies are dying to hear.
Okay.
How can educators, coaches, and nannies be part of the village you talk about?
Oh, I love that question. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay. Okay, so they have to do this thing. So this is what I wish would happen. So the nannies and the teachers and okay. So I wish that they would
Mhm.
be more proactive when they identify a need in a family. And what
Mhm.
I mean by that is what would be what do I mean by that? So let's say that there's a coach and let's say okay, so my daughter's in tennis. Let's
Mhm.
say that her tennis coach becomes aware somehow that my family is suffering.
Mhm.
I wish my coach would say, "Hey, let me go ahead and pick up your daughter today and take her home so you don't have to worry about driving."
Aw.
I wish that would happen. I wish that,
Mhm.
let's say a nanny.
Yeah.
Uh, God, that's my dream to have a nanny someday.
Me too.
Let's say a nanny being like helping to support this idea of a village.
Mhm.
Let's say that the nanny stays a little bit longer that day because they can see that the family is suffering, and you know what? If they could just
Oh,
put the infant down to sleep, that would be a huge help.
oh.
And then maybe this is where the lightening up comes in, and don't demand payment for it, and don't get resentful because you worked overtime and that, right? Like there's that. Now there's another thing that I think they can do, and I think this is really cool, and it's one that people forget about.
Mhm.
Do you know that one way to become part of the village is to actually ask for help? For you to
Ooh.
be the one to ask for help? What if my daughter's tennis coach asked me to pick up, to pick up his prescription on my way to his lesson?
Mhm.
When I say that, I feel like the more classic American response is, "Ah, how dare he? You're already paying him for a tennis lesson, and wait, who does he think he is? Can't pick up his own prescription?" But but what if we could get past that and go, "Oh, he needs help," and maybe even unconsciously start to instill this idea that we're allowed to ask each other for help.
Mhm.
That's a good thing. That's showing up to the village. What if the nanny, if the nanny's family was suffering, um, asked if they could watch the kids at her house today instead of their,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like what if we started asking each other for help without worrying about all the rules we're breaking and all the boundaries we're
Mhm.
crossing and all the dollars we're not getting, right? What if we
Mhm.
started actually crossing some boundaries and testing? And maybe this experiment would blow everything up. I don't know, but I hope what it would do is start to make it normal for us to reach out to each other.
I just love that. Oh my goodness. So, I want to ask you, what gives you hope right now in your work with families?
You just gave me goosebumps. It gives me hope in my work with families. Well, my clients.
Oh.
My clients, number one, I have the best job in the world. Sorry, mine's better than yours. I have the best job in the world because what I get to do is day after day, I get to watch my clients take risks with each other, experiment with forgiveness,
Oh.
come to the other side, and then I get to run into them in the parking lot and catch them laughing with each other.
Oh.
That gives me hope. That
That is
if
beautiful.
if I get to have clients who come into my office just ready to kill each other, and then I catch them in the bathroom making fun of me together and laugh, that that gives me hope. That gives me
Oh.
hope.
I think people need to hear that hope is still real, even when things feel messy. Is there a
Well,
recent experience or a small breakthrough that reminded you of that hope?
hmm. Yes. I'm thinking of my work day yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah. I have a client. Um so this is a big family. This is a family of 6 kids.
Mhm.
And this, you can imagine there's dynamic after dynamic after dynamic playing out in this family. But ultimately, what it comes down to is this very sweet concern where the parents work too much and the kids miss them. Now the kids don't say that, right? They get pissed off at their parents and they yell. The older ones yell at their parents and accuse them of being terrible, neglectful parents. The younger ones cry and fight and act out so they can get their parents' attention. And I was in a session yesterday, and this is kind of what we've been working on. I've been helping the kids put calmer words to what they're trying to say. So I have
Mhm.
banned I've banned the word neglect from our session. No one's allowed to say neglect anymore. What you can say is, "Mom, where are you? I needed you
Oh.
today." That's what you are allowed to say. And so yesterday, this beautiful thing happened, and the second oldest child did a did a terrible thing online, and some inappropriate pictures got released of her online, and it was this big blow up in the family, and the parents were just so upset. And speaking of hope, I felt really hopeful because we sat down and I was kind of bracing myself like, oh God,
Mm.
the parents are they're just going to tear into her, or
Oh.
she's going to be so defensive. And let me tell you that the father
Mm.
reached out, touched her knee, and said,
Oh.
"I'm here. I want to hear what happened.
Oh.
And it was unprompted. I did not help him with that.
Mhm.
Somebody got, maybe our conversations, it was something happened to this man, and he heard the message from the kids that they wanted him to look at them, to see them, to
Oh.
hear them. And he had an opportunity to just rip her a new one. And instead, he let her see, hey, I'm looking at you right now.
Oh.
How can I
How
help?
can I help you? Oh,
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
that is beautifully
Yeah,
touching. Thank you
it
so
really.
much for sharing that. And do we get to hear a little bit about your book series, or
Oh,
should we wait, or should
well,
we?
that's it. That's yes, it's a new frontier. I'm new at this. I am working on a series. It's called the Village series.
Mhm.
I'm hoping for 3 books and maybe more after that. But the series is currently in front of publishers and agents, and we are hoping
Ooh.
for a release next year. But yeah, the first book is I'm really excited about. The first one is sort of it's me. I'm attempting to teach families and villagers
Mhm.
these 4 key messages and how to get them inside kids' brains. And what you can do
Oh.
is the aunt and the uncle and the grandparent and the cousin and the neighbor and the nanny, what you can
Mhm.
do to help build awesome humans.
Oh.
That's what we need. We need awesome humans.
Yes, we do. Oh my goodness, I can't wait for this one. When the books get published, I would love to have you back again so we can talk more about it and where listeners can find it and all
So
the
thank
good
you.
stuff. Do
Yes,
you,
I'd love
ooh, do you have any, and congratulations, by the way, do you
to. Thank
have any final thoughts to share with us and a website, social media handles, so we
Yes,
can follow your work after this conversation?
you should never ask me for final thoughts because we'll be stuck here for 6 hours. So, instead, what I will tell you is, yes, my website is my institute's website. So it is all one word, caldwellfamilyinstitute.com. And you can find all of our contact information on there. I have an Instagram account. This is embarrassing, but I don't know how to tell your listeners about it because I don't do it because I hate social media. But I think it's on the website. There's a way to find my posts on Instagram, um, and I think that's the best way to kind of keep up with me, I would
Okay.
say.
Sounds good. Angela, thank you so much for your insight and presence today.
Oh,
Your
this was
work,
really fun. Thank you. Thank you.
you're very welcome. Your work truly models what it means to hold families with both strength and softness. For those who want to learn more, I'll link to your work, upcoming book series, and the Caldwell Family Institute in the show notes. Thank you so much again for being with us today. It's been an honor.
Thank you for having me, Abigail, and thank you for the work that you do.
Oh, thank you as well. Thank you for joining us for another heart to heart moment. I hope today's story touched your heart the way it touched mine. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone you love. And don't forget to subscribe to this and our YouTube channel so you never miss a moment of connection, inspiration, and joy. The stories and insights shared on Heart to Heart with Abagaba are personal and based on lived experiences. While some of our guests may be licensed professionals in their fields, the content of this podcast should not be considered legal, medical, or mental health advice. For expert guidance, please consult a qualified professional directly. Until next time, take care of your heart, take care of each other, and keep celebrating the love that makes us family. Celebrate!